says right here, betrayed empire. We like that.
Yeah.
It's right under worked for empire, which we don't
Right
like
after
as
betrayed
much.
our main
Betrayed
characters.
rebellion. Hey, ooh. Think we're gonna need some context here, Mr. Calrissian.
Your only friend is a lobotomized mandroid.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't exactly say that he can vouch for you.
Um, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, how much I like that guy. Do you think this has like a Dune kind of influence? They have like different houses, and this guy's a baron. It
Maybe
has kind of a
Baron.
Dune feel to me.
The
Just the
original Star
structure of
Wars
it.
was definitely influenced by Dune. I don't know if these guys were specifically, but the
They're
idea of
looking for
having a Baron
spice too.
is
They're
cool.
actually looking for
Well,
spice.
that is from the original movie because Lucas did definitely take that from Dune, where spice translates into kind of drugs. But in the Star Wars universe, you're like, Han was basically just a heroin dealer, I guess, is what they're
Is that where
saying.
he? Is that what they make death sticks out of?
Yeah, when you're like, you don't sell death sticks, like you don't know. Everybody else is running spice. What do you think that does?
This whole world runs on spice. Spice rules everything around me.
Just because I look like a boy band member with cartoon antennas, you don't have to talk down to me.
No, but that dude is sweet. This new Baron guy, I'm liking him.
Yeah.
That man, he'd have made a bitchin' action figure too. They really should have made one.
Oh, they still could if they're making Jackson. Who knows? I wish they. I wish there was a line like a retro line
I mean, no one
of.
would buy it, but like 20 of us, the 20 people that watch this show.
Well, I mean, at this point, it is surprise. It is surprising to me that they don't make figures of everything because their biggest market is not kids who play with it. Like
Mm-mm.
kids don't play with Black Series figures at $20 retail. That's ridiculous. So why don't you just make a figure of everybody? Because if it's just for collections and completion, why are there
It's
any
super
Star Wars
expensive
characters that don't have one?
to build the tooling to make a mold for a new figure. It's super expensive. But if you could like kit bash him out of pre-existing figures and just make a new head with those awesome sunglasses on, that's all you'd have to do.
You just wait. 3D printing is now so affordable. Like
Yeah,
there
I'll
will
make
be
my own
people
figures.
who start making customs that way. Because it's the deal is like 3D printing now is pretty cheap. I think 3D scanners are not as cheap,
I don't know.
but those are the two elements.
People
But
3D
soon,
print guns, so why not?
I love it. Like 3D printers used to be like thousands of dollars, and now you can get one for like a couple $100.
We have 3 of them at work that just sit there. In the 6 months I've been there, I've never seen anyone touch them.
Download an action figure and make one and see what happens.
I don't even
They like
know,
come around.
like,
Whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah,
whoa. Oh,
I
I
don't
didn't
even
know. I didn't
know.
know.
I don't know how to work it. I don't know how to turn it on, how to put a design into it. I don't know where the powder is. I don't know anything.
The
I've just
powder.
seen them. It's like a
Is it a
powder.
powder?
Yeah. That you put in to, you know, print onto the thing. I think
Yeah.
it's a powder. Maybe like little
Negan's all about
pellets.
miniatures. Like you can download all
That's
kinds of
why she's
miniatures.
into you. Miniature. You know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about.
It's not for the kombucha beer.
You know what I'm
It's
talking
not
about.
for all your good decisions.
She's into like D&D miniatures, like the old
Yeah,
school. That's fun.
yeah. She likes D&D and she likes miniatures. Like she's kind of wanting to get into Warhammer and stuff. Like we can do it.
That's fun, man.
We
That's
got to
kind of
clean off
stuff
the
that
pool
I
table if you want to start playing Warhammer, though.
that's the kind of stuff that I've never been into, but I always thought was cool. I always kind of got jealous when I see other people doing it. Like, man, that looks kind of fun. But
Miniatures are cool. I still have like boxes and boxes of the old ones because we used to love to we'd kit bash miniatures for sure because we had characters that were no normal kind of race, people with like 8 arms and stuff.
mm,
And but we'd kit bash and paint custom miniatures. That was super fun. I'd like I honest would mind having like a display case for D&D miniatures from my old ones.
yeah, do it, man.
I should make one. Yeah, it's not that hard. I'd want a glass front to it. That's the only thing I'd have to
You could buy glass
buy.
shelves, like curio cabinets with glass. They're not that expensive. I
Well, I
have one.
intend to get curio cabinets like when we get a little bit more settled in. I have some things,
Put your
but I have
curios in.
well, I have real things. Like I have some of my mom's yadros, like to put in there, like some real. I wouldn't put toys and things in.
Her
And
butt?
you never heard of yadros?
No, I
You'll
don't
just
know what that is.
you'll just have to Google it at some point. They're fancy figurines. They're like
Okay.
big, elegant
Like
porcelain
porcelain?
style
Oh, I
figurines.
think I've
Yeah,
seen those. Okay, I didn't know that's what they were called.
yeah, not like Hummels. She had a bunch of Hummels too, but I didn't really care for the Hummels so much. But the Yadros are very elegant, so I'd like to have those displayed.
Not the manliest thing to have in your house, but that's okay.
What
You're miniature,
what
so
am I
it's cool.
worried about? Yeah, who am I trying to impress at this point?
Have you seen this will all go in the bonus episode. Have you seen
Yeah,
Modoc?
yes,
Do you like it?
yeah, I really
Mm.
enjoyed it.
I watched the first one and I was like, does it get better than the first one?
I don't know. I think maybe you get into it more, but I wouldn't call it hilarious funny, but I think it's pretty funny.
I mean, it's
I
pleasant.
like the setup, and I like the animation. I like that it's that Adult
It does
Swim
look cool.
style of
You know,
animation.
I hate to say this, but I think I'm getting tired of Patton Oswalt. He's in
That may be
everything.
his problem. It's not that he's not funny, but there is a saturation issue.
And
I think
he's
he's good in
always
that
the
though.
same. Yeah, but he's always the same. And
What do
he's
you?
just being him. That's
Yeah,
it's such a
that's what
sweet
you're
gig.
paying me for.
What a sweet
Yeah,
gig, man. Just like you never make
I,
new voices. You
I'm not
just do
Mark
the same.
Hamill. I'm not trying to be the Joker. You hire me to be Modoc. You got Patton Oswalt as Modoc.
He's in Sandman, for goodness sakes. How
Is
weird.
he's
He's
Matthew the Raven,
the
isn't he?
Raven. Yeah.
That'll
And
be fun.
he's just gonna have the exact same voice and everything, the same character he does and literally everything else. I mean, he's funny, but at the same time, I'm like,
I like him.
I feel bad for all the other actors out there, voice actors. Like, man, I'd love to be on that show. Oh, they got
I
Patton
feel bad
Oswalt
for
again.
voice actors in general because there was a time where voice actors were voice actors and live action actors were live action actors and it didn't mix. And now you're like, we got Mike Myers for that. It's like, well, man, how can I compete?
Or even like they always get Scarlett Johansson or something. Like, why did you hire her to be a voice actor?
And no one can tell it's her.
Like, just get a voice actor. They're cheaper and they're
Yeah, and
good
they can
at it.
act.
That's
It's
what they
not like
do. Yeah,
like
that's what they
nothing
do.
against Scarlett Johansson,
No, but I'm
but
saying
the voice actors are also actors. They
you
can act.
hire someone who's famous, normally you're paying a ton of money because they're famous, their looks are famous. People see them on screen. They're like, oh, I want to watch her movie. I like her. If you're hiring someone that you're not even going to see, you might as well just get someone who has a good voice. Not that she has a bad voice. You know what I'm saying, though. You can get them cheaper
It's
and get
weird to me, but
as
yeah,
good a performance.
you could get anybody to play the snake in Jungle Book if it came down to it.
But
Be
I
like, you're a
guess they,
sexy, sexy snake. Like, I think a proper voice actor could do this.
yeah. But I guess
Nothing against her.
maybe they don't have the draw. Maybe they want to have
It
these
is
big
weird because
names.
the name still goes on the poster, even though it's just a cartoon movie. It's a weird world.
Mm-hmm. But I didn't dig Modoc that much. I'll try it again.
I would say commit to it because maybe the format may be a little off-putting at first. I think when you get into the rhythm of that show, I enjoy it. I find it funny.
They canceled Jupiter's Legacy,
I heard that. That's
and
so
I
sad.
haven't. I mean, I finished the 6 episodes that are out. Are they going to release the second half of that, or is that
I think
season
that's it.
two?
That was it.
Oh,
I
that
think we'll just
sucks. I
never
thought
know
that
what happened.
season one. I read somewhere season one was split into 2 segments, and
I
it.
could be wrong, but I got the feeling they pulled the plug hard on that one.
Oh man, that sucks. I thought it was all right.
It's all right. The only
would.
reason that I'm halfway okay with it was this is not from the comic. This is something they did just in the TV show. But his son, the utopian son, a superhero name is Paragon. I'm like, I
Oh
don't like
yeah, I
that.
caught that. Yeah,
I don't need that happening in the world.
yeah, I caught
So
that. That was fun.
if that disappears from the zeitgeist immediately, I'm not worried about that because that character isn't named that in the comic. It's only in the TV show that they
Oh,
did
weird.
that.
You should tell people what you're talking about.
Talk about my character, the
Mm-hmm.
patriotic paragon.
Tell them about it so they'll know what it is.
Well, go to heroesalwayshelp.com. That's where some of those comics, the original comic strip is still there. I was putting it together in a comic book format. Like I've got and I posted a bunch of those pages there too. So if you're interested, I need to get back to work on that. Turns out graphic novels are very difficult to produce, and I tend to unnecessarily overproduce everything.
Mm-hmm. Did you
Like
ever
have
put
like
out
I
that?
need to make one after this because after I've done this, there's so many better ways to do it than this.
Have you ever put the radio play online anywhere?
I'm pretty sure I put it
You
up
should
on
always
Libsyn.
say the award-winning radio play.
The award-winning, the GACA award-winning radio play. I did. I know I put it up on the Dark Crazy feed on Libsyn.
We've done so much stuff, guys, in the
There's
past.
so
You
much
just
silly
you
stuff.
don't even know, man. We've had radio shows, we've had TV shows, we've had
It's so much
podcasts,
fun.
we've had YouTube. But Sean's written books. He's written comic books.
I can't
I've
complain.
I've got like 10 albums of
Yeah,
music online.
we've had a lot of fun. War
We've made
World,
so much stuff.
like it's out there. Like we can't complain because like there are times in life that people were great artists and they're like, I just can't get anything out there. And that's not the problem we have. It's out
Mm-mm.
there. If
I've got
anyone was
gobs of
interested,
hours of
like
stuff out there. Just
we were definitely given the
we
opportunity to
yeah,
express ourselves.
we had our
I love it.
chance.
We
It
had.
just
Well, I still enjoy producing stuff. I don't care.
yeah. I mean, we're never going to stop doing it. It's making it's what's fun. Once it's done, and you're like,
Yeah,
this
that's
the
what I like about
process of
books,
making it's fun.
as opposed to trying to make movies, which is a thing we tried to do for a while, and even trying to make a comic book. Just if you write a book, it's done. You probably shouldn't just put the first draft out, but if you
Mhm.
write a book, that's the completed version of that in terms of formatting. That's not like a blueprint for something else you have to do. You don't have to draw it or film it or anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I love
Once you're
writing
happy
books for
with
that.
it,
Yeah, that's the trick. I've got books I've been editing for 20 years for nobody.
been watching The Stand.
That's okay. The
Mm,
new one,
yeah, it's all right.
it's all right. It was disappointing to me because they had a lot going for it going into that.
Yeah, they got good
And
actors and stuff.
honestly, I think you have to have read the book or seen the original TV show to really get what they're doing with that
I
because
think so too, because
they
I've
really reworked it a lot. I don't think if you were unfamiliar with the story that would be a very good presentation of the story.
I agree. And I was watching the first episode, and the jumps in time are extreme. Like you spend this long period showing the kid on the bicycle, gets beat up by the other people and all this stuff. And literally the next scene, the girl he likes is burying her dad, and everyone in town is gone. And there's no in between. It's not like, well, people you see people coughing, and then the next
Yeah.
scene, the entire town is dead. Like, show me a little more of
Yeah.
that.
They
That's
act
what
like we know that that's what the plot of the stand is, so they don't want to bore us with that. And if that were the format throughout, because that made it look like, and the first 2 or 3 episodes kind of made it look like every episode is going to sort of focus on one of the characters. And I'm like, well, this is an interesting way to tell the story. If you tell it non-linear, but it focuses on the points of the story that really affect, at least at the beginning,
I
and
don't
then when you
mind
get
the
into the end.
nonlinear, but
But
man,
they
they jump
didn't.
too far too fast.
Well, they
It's
just didn't
abrupt.
stick to it. Like another
It's
thing
so
is
abrupt you
like
don't know what's happening. Like, wait a minute, is this
the biggest problem that I had with the original miniseries, but it made perfect sense back in those days
the
because they never
Gary
made
Sinise one?
anything like that before. Yeah, the Gary
Sinise,
Sinise one,
Sinise.
which is still really good. And the effects aren't great, but I mean, as far as the actors and the writing, it's
They had
solid.
Max Headroom in it, right?
Had Matt Frewer as Trash Can Man, which is another one of my nitpicks about this show.
I haven't
But
gotten to him yet.
I'll get to that. But you just never get the sense in that like the in that first miniseries, you're like, this was a wasted opportunity because here we are, we have a world of network television that insists on 22 episodes a year. And here you have this gigantic story that they now are trying to tell in the original miniseries. It was like a maybe 5 days, I think, 5 2-hour episodes event.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
why not just do an actual season of television and tell the whole story? 22 hours to cover that whole story. And I'm like, no, they're not going to spend that kind of money. Like, well, that's a wasted opportunity. Now Paramount Plus comes along and they're like, now we're doing the stands. Like, here we go, prestige television. Now you can finally do like they did 3 seasons of Under the Dome for no reason. It was garbage. But now you have this opportunity that you could do one season that's just them dealing with the disease,
That's what I
and
wanted to
one
see.
season of them finding Mama what's her name,
Yeah.
and then one season to wrap the whole thing up. And that's 30 episodes. That's 10 episode seasons, 3 seasons of a prestige show. That would be a good, for today's format of television for streaming, that'd be perfect. Instead of like, nope, 8 episodes. And I don't want to spoil it for you, so I won't tell you what happens, but the last episode is just a brand new ending that Stephen
Oh.
King wrote for it. So
Oh,
it's
he
not
wrote it
even
though?
the whole book. He wrote it, but
All right. I'm just disappointed because the book's kind of like this too, I guess. I haven't read all the book. I stopped reading the book. It's too long. But I want to spend more time on the disease. I want to see what happens. I want to see how the world falls apart, not just like literally 5 seconds after we see someone cough, the whole world is gone. And it's like,
because that's what establishes the characters. Like
yeah,
after that, they start having weird dreams and they start picking sides and stuff, and then all of a sudden they start taking on different traits. But you learn about who those people are in the context of the world that they begin in. And if you
they
skip
did a
that,
pretty good job with the guy who's the singer of
yeah,
giving him a character
he
versus
was
everyone
he was
else.
pretty good.
I've only seen like the first 3 episodes, so I don't know. But
It's watchable. I mean, I would say watch it all. It's not a bad thing. But another thing that annoyed me was you haven't got to Trash Can Man. But
mm,
when I first was reading about it, they were announcing the casting, and somebody screwed up because somebody said Fiona Dourif was going to be in it, and they said she's going to be playing Trash Can Man. And I thought, well, that's really interesting because first of all, if you have read the book, Trash Can Man goes through a lot of crazy, weird stuff, and you're like, that's going to be interesting to tread that if the character is now female, but well, let's see what they do with it because Fiona Dourif is great. I love her, so I would like to see her take that role on. And then when the show came out, she's not Trash Can Man. She's one of the other characters that hardly does anything. And Trash Can Man is played by Ezra Miller, who I also like, but is absolutely terrible in this movie.
oh,
I'm going to blame the director because they're clearly telling him how to do that, but they're
I
wrong.
actually thought that the Matt Brewer was annoying in that too. Like,
Well,
is
then you're going to hate Ezra Miller.
that character just inherently unplayable because it's so
I
annoying?
don't know. Like, I think Frewer is watchable in the role. I like him in the role. But if you think that's overplayed, yeah, you're gonna hate him in
Yeah,
the new one because it's like I don't even know what they were going for with Trash Can Man, and he you thought there here's an opportunity we could put more nuance to the character because the original doesn't go very far into his backstory or anything, but it actually, if anything, plays him up less in this one, and it's just a waste of a lot of talented people.
it's all I got to watch, man.
It's
Until
good.
till Loki comes out.
Well, you can you do what you want. You want to pay for Paramount Plus, but you don't want to pay for Apple Plus.
Hey, I'm not paying for it. My mother-in-law got it so she could watch
That tracks.
CSI.
All CSI all the time.
Yeah, all those CBS shows.
The problem with Paramount Plus is it's unfortunate for you. Probably the worst of the streaming services.
Yeah, I mean it's we already have HBO and Netflix and Prime, so I don't need and Marvel and Disney. We have like 50 of them. I swear, we need to
They
start cutting some of these
periodically
things.
have a good show on Paramount Plus, but it's very rare.
I
And
only we only got it like 2 days ago, and I haven't really looked at it much yet. But
check out they got the new Twilight Zone in there. You can check those out. They're pretty good.
got a bunch of Star Trekkies.
Yeah, they need to come up with some new Star Trek. It's been a while because I do like their Star Trek shows. I want to see some more Lower Decks. That's what you should give another shot. Didn't you say you didn't think that was very
I
funny?
watched the first one and I found it annoying. I found that character
I feel like
insufferably
you
annoying.
probably need to give a show 2 or 3 episodes to ease
That may
into
be
that
true.
world because I thought because I could kind of see in Lower Decks how it could be off-putting at first, but I think and maybe I'm a bigger Trekkie, like, so I may get some of the deeper dive references that they constantly throw out, but I don't think so. I think it's a fun lampoon of Trek if you can get yourself into it. But We don't all like the same things, so maybe not.
That's true. There's only a few shows in my memory that have like snagged me in episode one, and I loved them forever. Like Archer, Sunny in
Archers.
Philadelphia. There's some shows just like the first time I saw them, like, yep, this is it. This is my show.
But you got to find a way to see Mythic Quest. That's a fun one.
Oh, I will. I'll find a way.
I will.
There
I'll
are people
find
at
a loophole.
there are people in Mos Eisley that can hook it up for me. I go to a bar and I'll talk to the guy and he'll point at someone in the corner and I'll walk over there and he'll be like, there'll be a Wookiee.
I can get the episodes through iTunes for $1.99 a piece.
$1.99. We
What?
could buy our own. We could buy Apple TV
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
exactly what I am
Yeah.
like when I'm like, because HBO Max, they figured out, they're like, man, we're not going to do shit for movie theaters this year. Let's put all of our movie theater movies on HBO and fuck it. And it was awesome. It's like, man, are you kidding me? I just watched The Conjuring this weekend. That was great. I saw Mortal Kombat. I saw
You
like
liked that? I
Godzilla Kong.
watched that.
It's okay.
It wasn't great.
It's not great. I didn't go in with a high expectation of it just because James Wan's not doing it, and I knew that was going to impact
That
it
girl
because
was creepy
he's
though.
so good.
The
I
witch
thought that
girl.
was Doug Jones. I like when she first appeared. I said,
Yeah.
"I swear to God, that's Doug Jones," and we had to look
Yeah.
it up. Like, nope,
She was pretty good at being
she's good and
creepy.
creepy. It's good. It's just the ghosty things are so good at dragging you in because I don't care who you are or what you're scared of. Somewhere along the line, you're going to be alone in the dark at night trying to go to sleep, and you're in the same vulnerable position as anybody in a haunted house show. So no matter how cool you are, at some point you're going to think about those little girls getting their legs pulled while they're trying to sleep and all this creepy stuff, and it eats at you.
It
It's
kind of
a
makes
sort
me
of
want
primal
to
thing.
see footage of the original, the true story people, the people it's actually based, the guy that got off on manslaughter or whatever. I kind of want to see more about that now. I'm curious.
I'd like to see more. I just with The Conjuring, as much as I love that as a setup for a series, it's not a good idea to know too much about the real life stories because then you get very cynical about it because you're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, they were just a bunch of sham artists
Well,
and shysters and
I
stuff.
don't doubt that at all. No part of me is watching this going that this is realistic.
But you kind of want that. You know it's not real, but you kind of want to believe that they're in earnest believing in ghosts and stuff. And the more stories, like I kind of feel like in real life, Lorraine Warren might have believed that stuff, but I don't think Ed did. Like there seem to be too many stories of them sort of perpetrating something that seems kind of
Did they
hoaxy.
make money off of it? I guess they got kind of famous, but
Yeah, and they had books out and stuff about themselves. They
hmm,
had book deals,
I want to
and
read.
they
I want to
they
read one of
paid
those
the
books.
people. They
I
had a
want to.
gift shop. I'll tell you what I read was the Demonologist. Like was the one that was like I guess that was the first book that sort of covered them, and it's fun, but you can tell that the author for hire is really pushing Ed as being awesome. Like it's sort of like the movies where Ed can fix cars and play guitar and he fixes the plumbing and all that stuff and he runs the demons off. It's like come on, like dial it back, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, you see the pictures of him at the end of the movie. They show the real
He's
ones,
just some old
and
fat guy.
he's some old dude, and he's not like this handsome, action hero guy.
No. She is obviously more beautiful because she's a beautiful Hollywood actor, but
Yeah.
she looks a lot like
Well,
Lorraine
they
Warren.
do her up with the
They
ridiculous
do
old
her up
timey
to look like
hair.
it. They give her the clothes and everything, and even the way she acts,
Hmm.
it seems like she tries very much to seem like Lorraine Warren, and I think that's more similar. But the Ed is like there's no similar. I know he tries to act like an everyday guy when he's talking and stuff, but he doesn't look or seem like in the third one where the demons on him. He's like, "I'll stop your heart, old man." He's like 42 or something. He
Yeah.
doesn't look old.
I
Like
guess
Ed Warren looked old, but he doesn't look
I
old.
guess if I lived that life, I'd have a bad heart too, though.
If you
Constantly
believed
getting
you were
attacked
fighting
by
demons all the time,
demonic
yeah,
nuns,
you'd be a
and you
nervous
still
wreck.
keep that painting in your basement. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, you guys are not. This is not a proper environment for a child, and I
No,
shouldn't be the one to tell you that.
nope. So
The only
anyway,
thing I really don't like about those movies, on a realistic note, is that this is a true story about a haunted house. These people thought their house was haunted. These other people said it was. Blah 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 blah. That's fine. And you milked it more and made it scarier in the movie. I think that's fine. But like in Conjuring 2, they're in Amityville and she's like reliving the DeFeo murder, and we're
yeah,
seeing
that's
her murder the kids, and the murdered kids are wandering around. Like that's like a real life
yeah,
murder
those
of
are real
children.
real
Like
people who still have living relatives, you know.
I love that movie, but that is important. You could have done without that. Like that's a creepy scene, but that is in poor taste in the movie, and in to some degree, it's true in the third movie because it's about a real murder case. So we
Mhm.
see the real murder victim get murdered in the movie, and then they spend the rest of the movie chasing witches or some bullshit, and you think they're setting up some kind of weird like crime drama because they're in the courtroom, and the lawyer's like, I plead not guilty by demon possession, and you're like, this is going to be interesting. It's like a Law and Order, but about demons. And then that is the last court scene in the movie.
And you know what? Melissa pointed this out, and I kind of feel I was agreeing. Like it's starting to feel like Murder She Wrote. Like eventually, if someone's gonna cops gonna police sides. No, everywhere you go, people die. Like
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's not demons.
they injected themselves into the investigation of finding that girl in the other part of the country, which is a big no no. If you're, the cops find that very
Yeah, and in the
suspicious.
movie, they're going into
And
the
then
morgue and touching the body and
yeah,
stuff.
they
Like,
literally take the cop to where the body is, which, who would know where the body is? The
yeah,
person that did it.
if you were a really good cop, you would start thinking, wait a minute,
Yeah,
because
these
they
guys
reached
are,
out to you. It wasn't like you called
yeah,
them.
that's
Like
what I'm
they
saying.
actually contacted you.
They're injecting themselves into your investigation. They lead you to the body. Then that night, they break into a morgue and molest the body.
Ugh. I do like that weird bloated corpse.
That guy
That's
was
creepy
creepy
looking.
as hell.
I think this is the same director that did The Curse of La Llorona, which wasn't scary at all. But they had some decent. You could, if it is, I'd have to look it up. Then he worked a little harder to maintain the sort of format of the Conjuring movies. I just think this is a weaker story. It's like demon, demon, witch. Like
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this pivot where it's just witches using,
Well,
and I really don't like people using satanic rituals. Like I don't like, because the satanic panic stuff is all these people thinking that there were cults that were devil worshiping, doing stuff, and
I
we
thought
find
they were
out
kind
that's
of,
just people going crazy.
were they not playing off of that though? Or did this take place before the 80s? I don't know when this took
Well,
place.
I think Megan read that the director said he wanted to do something that did play into the satanic panic, but if you're going to do that, then it should be, the satanic panic was not a panic about people who were actually doing satanic rituals. It was a paranoia about Satanism that was founded in nothing. Like you can't do something that's a commentary on the satanic panic and then just play it at its face like it
Yeah.
was a real
You're just
thing.
going to go ahead and pretend that they weren't eating babies at child care centers? Is that what you're going to
Okay.
pretend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wake
I'm
up.
sorry.
Wake up, sheeple.
Pizza. Like all those idiots like sticking things to their body and go, why am I magnetic now? It's like you need a shower.
Is that real?
Oh yeah, people think the
I'm
vaccine
not
makes you
talking about
magnetic.
the QAnon guys. I mean, back in the 80s, they thought that they were these child care centers for like satanic places and that they
Yeah, and
were
that's
indoctrinating
all
children. And
nonsense.
of course, but
I'm not saying if you're trying to make your proper point, you probably shouldn't say you're satanic, because I think just that's
I
gonna
did
turn
like how
people
the
against you.
witch,
But the
when they showed
satanic
her,
panic is nonsense.
I was like, no, point out to Melissa and showed her hand. She had these big satanic looking rings all on. It's like, dude, you don't have to like go out of your way to look that way.
Advertising every inch of it.
It'd be creepier if it was a normal looking person who
But
just
that is
happened,
the truth. It's like, look, I'm
not
looking at you right now.
Anton LaVey looking person,
You
but
don't have to tell us you're a witch. All right.
yeah, you're scary as hell.
Like I literally at the beginning of the movie thought you were a ghost, and it just turns out you were a person.
She's like, they haven't even put makeup on me yet. Yeah, you're scary as hell. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
That's the problem with having like I think John Noble is the actor who plays like the priest in the middle. And as soon as they go ask him, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna turn bad. I've never seen this guy
Yeah.
play a good guy.
And he was playing up the creep factor big time. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
come
am chicken
downstairs.
shit. Yeah, and like even if she wasn't psychic, that was the right reaction. Where she's like, "I don't want to go down there." It's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
shouldn't.
Yeah,
That's the
whatever you
weirdest
want to
thing I've
tell
ever
us,
seen.
why don't you just tell us up here?
Like, yeah, at least preface it. The only thing that I will give him credit for is they walk in his room and they're like, "This is creepy. You should get rid of all this stuff." Like, you got a spooky gift shop.
Yeah,
Like, at
you're
least
no
I don't
different.
charge admission for people to see my weird shit. I keep it down in my weird basement.
He says like, I want to burn it, but I think it's safer here, which is literally exactly what
Exactly
they
what
what
they
they
said.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
So
weird.
they should, after he died, man, and the cops said nothing to them, even though they're like standing over two dead bodies in that place, and they're the only ones there.
And like, well, you don't understand. She was a witch. It's like, all right, okay, I
Now,
get
I'll
it.
grant you, the cop says, that is some creepy, weird stuff under that house. Yeah, these weird tunnels filled with old
Yeah,
statues and
but
stuff.
that does not give you the right to murder this man.
They should have taken all that stuff out of his place and put it in their little weird ass suburban. You know how weird.
Instead, they take like that one goblet and put it in their little collection. It's like, what about the rest of that shit?
What was the goblet? Like, what was it? Just something, just one
what she
thing,
used.
the thing on top of her altar. That's it. That's all they took.
Yeah, problem solved.
Man, you know how weird it'd be if you live in a neighborhood. How weird it'd be if like your neighbor
I like to
had a
live in
basement,
neighborhood. Yeah,
had a basement full of like creepy supernatural objects.
well, imagine like you are going to ask somebody some questions about weird shit, and then he's like, and just walks down into a dark basement, doesn't say anything about like,
and it's got like all these old locks on it and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I'll show you some weird shit.
no, no, thank you. At least I need you to set the scene for me verbally before I walk down these stairs, and then we'll make a decision. You've given me nothing to
So
just
why don't you
trust.
just take whatever it is that you need to show me and bring it back upstairs. We're talking outside and I'm keeping the car running.
If it's a book, bring the book. I feel like you want me to see all your weird shit, and it's not relevant.
I feel like you want to murder me in your basement. Look, I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm already asking you, have you ever seen a bunch of weird bush baby skulls put
And
together?
my psychic wife, she's sensing evil here, so I'm just, on the
Which
fence.
for some reason we're not paying any attention now. She's like, I don't want to go down there. Like, we'll be fine.
Stop being so girly about it.
Why don't
You're
you
being
ever
emotional.
listen to my psychic shit?
Yeah, they really played it up too. We're talking way too much about Conjuring for you guys that haven't seen it, but
I guess this is what's cut it off into a separate episode.
I don't remember any other movies her being so psychic that like put the knives in her. This one, and she just instantly knows what it is or whatever. I thought she had just these visions.
This one was the most movie because the
Yeah.
others they tried to make it look like it, but at the point where they're like, we're looking at a witch who murders people with demon rituals, so like you're like, okay, so it's Scooby Doo now. They're not trying anymore. Like maybe the first 20 minutes of the movie was trying, but if they're literally just chasing witches, then we know that the franchise has pivoted. And that is right. Like she's just picking stuff up and going, yes, I got a very strong vibe off of this. I'm a movie psychic now.
And also, I didn't understand the curse. I apologize to you guys watching who don't care about this. Just tune us out. The curse was like you have to kill a child, a lover, and then a
man of faith.
A man of faith. What did that girl that got killed out in the woods in the other state? What was she?
I guess she was a lover. Child was supposed to be the little boy, but then that transferred into the man who said, "Enter into me" instead.
Yeah, so I thought that
still counted as the child.
Oh, see, I thought he was the lover because he loved that girl. That's what I was thinking. I don't know.
I don't know how these rituals work. I do know that if they don't work, the demon just takes your soul. So they're like, whatever, potato, potato. I'm collecting either way. We give them a bunch of bullshit rules to follow. We don't really care.
And it just literally like bent her body in all these weird directions. Someone's going to have to talk to the cops about this, Lorraine.
I hate to say, like, this movie started off really strong because Ed gets, his heart injured, which is they're trying to be true to life because what ends Ed Warren ended up having a heart attack. That's like that they've been setting that up through the whole thing, which is kind of weirdly tragic because that's what ends up actually killing him in real life. But they're trying to make it look like a lifetime of fighting demons gave him a bad heart. But it was a fun thing in the context of the fictional movie because it put her more at the forefront than she's been in the other movies, which she should be because she's like the one who has psychic powers.
Yeah, he's
And they're all
just kind of
turning to
there,
Ed like he's
right?
just reading out of a Bible when a priest won't come. Like, but she's actually like a psychic who can see and talk to spirits. Like, she should be the forefront of this. And for a lot of this movie, she was, but then at the very end, she starts to fall apart, and he shows up with a sledgehammer, like, let me manhandle this altar. It's like you can't even walk. Why can't? And she's like just pushing it, trying to push it over.
Yeah.
It's like this is pitiful.
It's like, please, Ed, don't hurt me.
Like, oh god, like that. This I don't like.
Need some of those Psylocke psychic knives that come out of her fist and
That would be the best if they just had her and the witch lady just had like a psychic Mortal Kombat fight
yeah.
where they had like psychic knives coming out.
Or like I'm be an X-Men nerd here when the Shadow King fights Xavier the first time, and like they're all doing it in their minds. They're just standing across from each other, but it shows they're inside their minds and they're like done up and all this crazy armor and stuff and swords and
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anywho,
But not so much in this movie.
All right then. So there's that.
Yeah, The Conjuring 3.
What should I be watching, man? I'm out of shows. I don't know what to do now.
Well, we just finished Sweet Tooth. That one's pretty good. You got
Is
Netflix?
it good?
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
I've seen the comic in the store,
and it's been renewed. So I hate all these first seasons always sort of end with like setting something up, like Jupiter's Legacy. Jeff Lemire wrote the comic.
Okay. I picked up
it's pretty good.
I've been reading Department of Truth, which I think is pretty interesting. And that's
I've read that.
That's Tinian. And then I picked up another Tinian book that just started last week called the Nice House on the Lake. And it's like it starts off and it seems like it's going to be kind of annoying, but then it has a really cool twist at the end that's really out of nowhere. And I was like, this is a neat idea. For once, it's something I've never seen, So you should
make that a Netflix show.
They might, because it's an awesome setup for a show. So check out some Tinian stuff, man. He's
done. He's familiar.
He did that Killing the Children, which is super popular right now, and they're making a show of that. I think he's on Batman right now too. He's done a ton of stuff.
I think I read some of his stuff, but I can't place where I would have read it.
But Department of Truth is good, I think, and that would also make a really cool, creepy show.
We'll see. They have a bunch of fun shows. Did you say you'd seen Shadow and Bone or not?
I started it, and I kind of got bored. I'm not good for the slow, drawn out dramas.
It is a little of a slower burn than some of those other kind of shows, but I did like the story of it. I like the world because it's different. It's not just like a medieval fantasy kind of thing. It's like the aesthetic is like 19th century Russia is the mythology aesthetic of the show.
It's got that weird steampunk thing that people are obsessed with now in shows. Just like that other show that I did like, the one where the people have the powers, all the women have the different powers. What's that called?
The Nevers.
The Nevers. Yeah, that's also like this weird steampunky Victorian kind of thing.
I kind of like the Shadow and Bone better than the Nevers.
I didn't understand. Well, the Nevers to me was just more entertaining. Like it's not a much deeper story, but it was fun.
I'm just kind of getting tired of Joss Whedon's shtick a little, I guess, because some of those things just stood out whenever they say something, and you're like, yeah, that's the kind of thing a Joss Whedon character would say or do.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. But I didn't understand the physics or the world in Shadow and Bone. I understand there's this big veil that's some wizard accidentally put up. And you go through it, there's monsters. Mm-hmm. But people apparently do go through it, like, regularly. So it's kind of, they treat it like it's this impenetrable, horrifying thing. But people do go through it.
Well, you have to have different ways of being able to get through it, though. It's incredibly dangerous. Is the point?
I know it's just
Like
kind
there's
of
that one
weird.
point in the story where there's a train that goes through, and they just
I haven't
basically
seen
just
that.
tear through quicker than the monsters can get them. But if you go through in a ship, you're pretty much asking for trouble.
Yeah, I haven't seen that far. So
One thing I liked about it was I didn't realize they're on the boat going to one of these lands or the skiff, and I realized like they're sailing on sand. They're not on the ocean. Like I just thought that was kind of cool that they have these sort of sail skiffs that shoot across the sand in these places where there's no water. There's little things like that I really like in the show, and I like the basic concept of the mythology. I like the character setups, and some of the characters grow on you after a while. Like
I'll
I
give
do
it
like
another shot.
it's like 8 episodes. I think it's worth 8 episodes to get into the story. It's a basic chosen one motif, so that's why it's boring at first because
Yeah,
every
because
one of these
she's
stories is
the light
always
bringer or
a
whatever.
YA chosen one.
Yeah,
But I think when you get into it, it's a little bit more fun in terms of the story. I don't think it's quite as like it's not funny kind of fun. Like it's not that kind of show. Like the Nevers tries to make you laugh, but I just get tired of the
I enjoyed the
crazy lady.
Nevers. I thought
There's
it
like
was
the good
interesting.
lady hero, so she knows karate, obviously. If she's a strong woman, she has no karate.
See, you're looking
Or
into
what
this
else
Joss
makes her
Whedon
strong?
stuff again.
Or the crazy lady villain who just says moon brain things all the time.
And I thought she was really interesting. I actually like
She
that
got
villain.
interesting to me. I think the actors are doing a really good job, and Whedon's not writing every episode.
He
I
got
like
kicked
some of the
off.
people.
He got kicked off it like super early
Well,
because of his controversy, right?
he's still writing and directing through the end of the first season because I want to say he either wrote or directed the last episode.
I know he got kicked
So
off of
he's
it.
gone from it now. It'd be curious. I'm curious to see if they do part two now and bring in like if Jane Espenson, who I like a lot, is one of the other executive producers on the show. If you just make her the showrunner, like what can we do from there? I think you could do something fun. It's not a bad story, but there's lots of things like the ending where like, well, now it's in the future, and it's a weird future where everybody talks weird slang, but it's just in some room somewhere. Like it, everybody looks and sounds like it's Jason X, but we're supposed to buy that this is some authentic version of the
That
future.
was disorienting at first because I'm like, I thought that was the main girl, but when she grew old, I didn't realize it was the main
I think it's
girl's
probably what
personality.
you're supposed to think. Yeah, and I think that's
It's
good
weird.
because those actors do look very similar to each
Yeah,
other in that way. I just get like Dollhouse did that where
I
when they
never
ran
watched
out of
Dollhouse.
steam, they just started doing time jumps in the future, and it was some weird. And it was again, it was like a dystopian future where everybody's just acting weird. It's like I don't
Dollhouse
think that
looked
that's
like
the go-to card to play whenever your show's not working.
just the idea of Dollhouse seemed creepy, not scary creepy, but like
Yeah,
gross creepy.
it's now especially creepy when now we have
Yeah,
some real world context.
yeah. So I never got into. I never watched that one.
I like
In fact,
Eliza
the only
Dushku,
show I
so I tried to
watched of
watch it.
his was Firefly or whatever.
Well, that was the best one that he
That's
did.
the only one I've watched. So I don't have all these feelings about him that a lot of the longtime fans have. You know.
Well, I think, after 20 years, like if someone continues, I can see people continuing to create in the ways that were successful for them. But if you're a viewer steadily, it's sort of like Kevin Smith. Like at some point when I watched Clerks 2, I was like, he's not writing this for me. He's not
No,
writing this
dude.
for a sustained viewership. He's staying in his age bracket. I'm the one who moved out of it.
I am sure
So
that he
there's
is a
no.
super nice guy, but I have never enjoyed any of his movies except the first Clerks.
I used to enjoy them, but that was back in the
I know you
90s.
did, man. You loved that
But
guy. You and a whole bunch of people we knew were just going on about Chasing
but
Amy being a
I aged
brilliant
out
work
of
of
it.
art, and
It
I
wasn't his
never,
fault.
it
Oh, I
never did
love
it for me.
Chasing Amy, and now if you watch Chasing Amy, it's embarrassing to
It
watch.
was embarrassing then. You just didn't realize it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was in the group. Like I was in the target market for that
And
movie.
Mallrats was fun because he wasn't trying to be all heavy and
His two
serious.
best movies are Mallrats and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back because
I
they're
haven't
just
seen
trying to
that
be
one.
funny.
I
They're
haven't seen
just
that one.
trying to be silly funny,
Oh, but
and they
that
work
one he
for that.
made with the angels. Oh,
Yeah, that was the one where I was like, I don't think I like Kevin Smith anymore. Like
Uh,
when that was his big one, that was the movie he built to. Like I might not like Kevin Smith anymore.
yeah. And I'm sure he's a super nice guy. And I'm so sorry for you guys who are big fans watching this. And
There's no
they're
if
like,
you're a big
screw
fan,
you,
be a
man.
big fan. Like this,
There's
there's no
lots of
harm in it.
stuff
I'm
I
not
like
telling
that
him
no
to
one
stop
else
making
likes. Believe
movies.
me.
I'm just saying he's not making them for me anymore, and that's just something I had to realize for myself.
It's when you took off the trench coat, you stopped being a fan. That was the day it happened.
Actually, just immediately.
Yeah. Because Sean used to look like Kevin Smith back in the day.
People
And
used
it
to
wasn't
say, "You know who
intentional.
you look
It's
like."
because they're archetypes, He was that guy in college who had the beard and the trench coat, and then the movie came out like, oh yeah, that looks like me.
It's funny.
But yeah.
No, I'm glad that he's had the success that he's had. I just those movies, and I still watch. I watched the Jay and Silent Bob. Excuse me. I watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It was okay, but
He writes
Quentin
comics
Reviews
now.
did a whole video on lore movies, and I thought that was an interesting distinction because he was like, a lore movie is a movie where you have to be familiar with a whole other set of movies to understand, because all of its story and jokes are references to other things. It's a thing that doesn't
Yeah,
survive on its own.
that
And I was
makes
like,
sense.
yeah, like reboot. Like I mean, he makes Star Wars jokes and things like that. I don't mean that, but Jay and Silent Bob reboot is a lore movie because you have, and to a degree, Clerks 2 is like at some point you have to be familiar with Kevin Smith's other movies and nostalgic for them to understand the humor of the new movie that he's making. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point
Hmm.
of it. That's the purpose of making it.
They're just revisiting his old stuff over and over
Yeah.
again.
And why not? If people would pay to see it and he can reunite with some of his friends for fun and put his daughter in a movie, why wouldn't you do that?
That's the Adam Sandler theory. You ever see people talk about that?
Yeah.
That
And he's
he,
perfect. Like he's making millions and millions and he hires his friends.
yeah, the
And
idea is that, his movies make a lot of money, so he gets these huge budgets. And then he just gets his friends together and they make the movie for next to nothing and then just keep all that money.
yeah, and
And
then
they
they
just,
like, and they product placement out the ass on it.
yeah. So
Like
it's
it's
like
all about making
basically
money.
just getting rich to hang out with your friends and make stupid movies over and over and over. And
Why
somehow it
wouldn't you?
works. Somehow people, so
You
good for
shouldn't
him.
resent a creator because they create content you don't like.
No, no, no.
You know,
I do get jealous sometimes when I see people that I don't like, getting crazy successful. And I'm like, why? Why that guy?
it's
Not Adam
random.
Sandler. I like him,
A
but I
lot of the
mean,
times it's random.
a lot of YouTubers, especially, man, watch the top YouTubers. A lot of these guys are
Well,
like, they're
there's a science
insufferable.
to that.
They're
If you want to,
insufferable.
you can watch some videos on how
Get
people maximize
like
their
kind of
engagement,
game the system.
and that's, if you want to do it, that's a thing to do. There are ways,
All
but
you got to do is make a video where you're exploding iPhones. Just take something that everybody wants and destroy it. And then you'll get like 20 million views
well,
and be rich.
that's rage baiting is what that's called. That is a specific marketing tactic, because I was just watching a video about this today on Kunken Dastner.
Put a link on
But
there for people to watch what you're talking about.
Duncan Kastner is the YouTuber. His channel's called Kunken Dastner, but he did a thing on rage baiting because it's pretty simple. Is you make a video about something that's going to rile people up. You don't care what, doesn't matter what. What matters is that those riled up people are going to start leaving angry comments,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to lead other people to engage in the comment war.
Or they're going to
And
put it on Reddit, like, see what this guy said?
yeah,
Look at this
and the
video.
more people that participate in the comments, the more popular your video is,
Mhm.
because engagement's all that matters. So it'll start getting recommended to people, and then it's just a feedback loop again and again and again. So rage bait is like
So
a really
we need to
rudimentary
make
way of getting engagement.
we need to make people angry, is what you're saying.
I don't
That's what you're saying. I
think
hear
that
I hear
we
you. Oh, I
have
hear
the
you.
ability to inspire
Anger.
a like not
Or
anger, just
any strong emotion.
heightened emotion.
Yeah,
I
any
think
emotion at
we
all.
appeal to people right along like those guys are pretty good. I think that's our audience.
Yeah,
That's
they're okay.
those are the guys we're looking for. I wanted to watch something that was pretty good. I like those guys. It
Yeah,
made me feel all right.
they're
Like
not
that's
that bad.
and that's
They're
what we
not
want.
great, but they're okay.
That keeps us out of trouble. Because what you don't want is to become somebody that does sort of inspire people to feel bad or
Yeah,
mad.
I would never want to make anyone
So
upset.
so at the risk of not ever like getting people super excited about our content, we just make content that people will like. And if they don't like it, they won't be mad they don't like it. They're like, nah, they'll just turn it off. So we're part of the casual, calm discourse of the internet that is not by any means the most popular element of it.
Yeah, the least successful part, the normal
Yeah,
folk, the normal people.
just the moderate, casual, mellow. That's what we're going for.
Next issue, Doom Mission. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward
exactly.
to it.
Speaking of that, Doom Mission.
Looking forward to seeing
Smash that like.
Bear and Tag. Yeah, so why don't you tag that like button
Yeah.
and Bear on top of that subscribe button.
All right.
I'm working it. Let me out.
I'm just waiting with bated breath to see what they do to the bell.
And if you dislike it, you know what I want you to do? I want you to dislike it so much that you hit that dislike button twice. That's what I want you to do.
Yeah, dislike it a bunch of times.
Well, dislike it an even number of times.
On all these platforms,
make sure it's
negative
even.
Engagement is the same as positive engagement.
The joke is if you hit it twice, it unlikes to unlike. That's the joke that Sean's not getting.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hit it an even number of times.
I don't know how YouTube works.
Well, if you click it and then you click it again,
you can't dislike something more than once.
You can't add 50 dislikes to one video. Just keep disliking it until the number cranks up. And we'll stay here all night. I got all day.
Why not? That's engagement. You think YouTube would like that? Look how engaged that guy was. He worked his finger down to a bone.
Okay, so like or dislike, whatever you want to do, but we appreciate it because it helps us know someone's watching. Give us a comment because that's our absolute favorite thing. And we respond to pretty much everybody, I think.
Yeah, it's not hard right now.
So thanks for watching, everybody. Next issue I'm excited about, Doom Mission, in which I guess they're
more Bear and Tag coming up.
They're gonna Luke and Leia are just gonna take on Bear and Tag by themselves because they can't get a message of help out.
Yeah, especially now that there's remember how the siege of Yavin goes, but I'm guessing that it's going to be several months worth.
Yep, and Luke's gonna, lightsaber fight the bear, and maybe that'll be cool. He's like another Jedi. What he needs to do is get with Luke. He doesn't realize this because they're going to hate each other and fight, but he needs to say, whoa, 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 you're trying to kill Vader? I'm trying to kill Vader. And Leia's like, I'm trying to kill Vader too. Hey. Come down to the rebel base. We are all trying to kill Vader.
We should start a club. It's like, we have a club. It's called the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah, we're all down there allied.
Got a charter and
killing Vader. That's like one of our big goals.
It's like, yeah, it's in the charter.
It's on our dream board or whatever they call it.
Yeah, it's on our dream board. That's right.
So thanks for watching, everybody. There will be a bonus episode out too that has all the stuff that we cut out of this one that most people don't want to watch.
Massive amounts of talking.
If you want to watch that, check that out.
That will be out there.
Check out
TV8MyDinner.com where we try to post all of our content there. So I got another TV 8 My Dinner on the way. Wait, I got to get back on that, so we'll have some of that, and we'll do some more watch along. We are cooking up. We'll have something to go along with Loki, but I don't know what yet. I think we're gonna do a watch along on Loki.
I'm down with that. I want to be part of that.
So we'll see. Yeah, for you that's Mondays is what we're targeting for that.
So I'm a comic guy.
Mandalorian. But that'll be a fun one because that was a good show.
Loki?
If you haven't seen it yet.
Loki?
Yes.
It's out?
Yes.
I didn't know it was started.
It came out Wednesday. Yeah, I didn't realize that either. I thought.
Did they have just like one episode out now, or
just one? Yeah. It's
okay. Well, I will watch that tonight.
That's why we're gonna do a watch along because we can do week for week. HBO makes it hard.
And we're gonna record on Monday.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's do that then. All right.
We
Thanks
got
for
a
watching,
plan, internet.
everybody. Yeah. Yeah, they're waiting with bated breath. Okay,
Thanks for
everyone.
coming.
My name's Brooks,
I'm Sean.
and we will see you next time. Bye bye. Shanoop.
Snoop.